All right, we have a guest in the studio. It's a public holiday. Most times when he's on holiday, he tries as much as possible to join us on the program. Good morning, but it's good to have you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Let's just say I'm always here when there's something to celebrate. As I look at it.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Salah, Christmas, New Year. Yeah. You can go on and on. Any holiday, anytime there's something to celebrate. Yeah. It's always great to have you on the show. And of course, the Premier League started over the weekend. There's a lot to talk about. Absolutely. We'll get to that in a moment. Just kindly hold on. Let's talk about gymnastics quickly. Nigerian gymnasts doing great things on the continent.
Absolutely. They went to Pretoria in South Africa for the African Club Championship, and it was Tony International Gymnast that actually represented Nigeria there. That's a club that represented Nigeria there. Just yesterday, they came back, and they came back with so many medals. I mean, these young stars, average age of 8, you have 8, 6, 5, and of course, there was also
look at it's amazing.
Welcome, that's Stephanie right there, the girl that is actually making waves. Yeah, the gold medalist, making waves across.
8 years old.
She's just 8 across Nigeria right now. I mean, Twitter has been buzzing because of this young girl. She went there with other athletes, but then the focus was actually on Stephanie, simply because, as you mentioned, she won a gold medal in level 8. And these athletes, you know, usually it's difficult for you to actually, you know, make it as a gymnast in Nigeria because of the environment that we are in. But somehow they were able to prevail, and they came back with 8 medals. All of them that went actually came back with a particular medal. Well, let's hear from them how excited they are being able to represent Nigeria, and also what they actually want the government to do to ensure that some of them achieve their dreams of actually representing Nigeria at the Olympics in the future.
I want Nigeria to grow more, and I want to meet the president, President Buhari, to build a gym for children to enjoy and new equipment, because the equipment that we have used to injure us.
In South Africa, we went for a competition. South Africa, I competed in level 4 in the bars, beam, vault, and floor, and I won a silver medal. I feel very proud of myself right now. I would want the president to buy us new equipment, because some of our equipment are very, very old. Well, in gymnastics, I hope to do better, listen to my coach more, and improve more in my skills. I want to represent Nigeria in the Olympics one day.
Yeah, Akachi Ume, she's also 8 years old. She won silver right there at the championship. She's got dreams to actually represent Nigeria at the Olympics. All we have to do is to just support these kids with good equipment. That's all they're asking for. It's not much.
Very basic. And,
just build a gym for them and they'll be happy.
I mean, it's like every time we talk about sports and we say talent is not in doubt. But then something is always in doubt. It seems to be one common thing.
Absolutely. A lack of vision, a lack of will, a lack of understanding of what is really enduring and what is of value to society. These are young kids who are really, really talented, who have their future, you know, right in front of them. And they're crying out for the government to come to their aid, because they know that without those infrastructure, it might be the reason why they never ever, you know, God forbid, live up to all of that potential. In terms of talent, like you quite rightly said, we're as good as anyone anywhere in the world.
Right.
And it's just a shame that from one area of sport to another, from one area of our society to another, it is the same theme, it's the same thread running through. It's a case of what could have been, you know, only if only we had the right structure in place. And you ask yourself, do we have the resources to put the structures in place? Absolutely yes.
Right,
the answer is just a matter of, you know, misplaced priorities and greed most of the time. Where these monies are available, people will deploy them for reasons you and I know. And it's just, you know, it's such a shame that in an area where Nigeria typically doesn't produce talent, these ones already are talented. We've identified talent that if we nurture over time, in the next couple of years, could be competing at the Olympic Games and winning us medals and doing us, you know, proud as a nation. And with all of the tremendous advantages that would accrue to the country as a result, you know, I mean, we just don't see it, and that's heartbreaking. And I hope that these ones, end of day, do not get frustrated, to a point where they leave Nigeria and go represent some other countries because they just want to live their dreams. Sometimes Nigeria leaves you with absolutely no choice in these matters, sometimes.
It's heartbreaking, really. 9 medals they won. He had 2 gold medals, 2 silver, and the others were bronze medals from these children.
Remarkable stuff from them. I mean, you see, I'm sure they watch TV a lot and they see the likes of Simone Biles and see all the great things she's been able to achieve even before clocking 20, and they want to be like her. And for them to get to that level, they need the support coming from the home front.
And that support is not restricted or limited to gymnastics at a young level.
Not at all.
Every sport, every champion was built from a very young age.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Serena and Venus Williams of this world, the Roger Federers, the footballers. I mean, you have videos of Messi, Neymar, and of those superstars playing football at a very organized football at a very young age, post 2010 World Cup. One of the big lessons that Danny Jordan, who put the World Cup together, said he learned was that in Spain, in France, and in Germany, there were 15,000 organized football games at under 8 level every weekend. Under 8 level every weekend.
There you go.
And that's where we have to get to match up to or get anywhere near the superpowers in this sport. Else, we'll just be grateful to participate, make up the numbers, and never really, make appreciable impact. Until we fix the structures, until we get the fundamentals right, until we fix our hearts, and prioritize the good of the community or the collective over gratification of personal self, then we're not going anywhere.
Okay, let's stop dreaming and just focus on how to develop ourselves first, right? That's what it's all about.
Oh, we'll definitely continue to monitor this fantastic young stars.
We will.
Yeah, surely.
Okay, now let's switch over and talk about the English Premier League, starting with the crushing defeat. I mean, no one saw this coming, but did you see this coming?
Absolutely. I thought that Liverpool were even going to run out more comprehensive winners, but when the game started, I thought that Norwich created enough opportunities to have hurt Liverpool even more. I didn't think that Norwich would have gone into that match expecting that they were going to carve Liverpool apart so frequently as they did. Unfortunately, they couldn't take their chances. Had they taken their chances, the game could have had a different complexion about it. Because Norwich on the front foot were really, really good, but they couldn't finish. That was the difference. And when Liverpool got their chances, it took them. By the end of the first half, it was already 4-0.
It was over,
Yeah, the game was done. So that for me is a big lesson for the other teams, that if you have a go at Liverpool, maybe that defense is still sort of slowly getting out of pre-season mode and holiday mode. So this is a time to really get at them. Van Dijk and I think it was Matip that played alongside him in central defense. They just went as solid as we have come to know them and expect them to be. Trent Alexander-Arnold and the guy on the other side, the Scot, what's his name now? Robertson, as usual, because it was an opposition they were going to dominate, were bombing forward and were leaving gaps that Norwich could exploit. Unfortunately, chance after chance, they didn't take those chances. So I thought Liverpool, yes, on the front foot, as devastating as ever, but defensively, they actually didn't play so well in that first game.
Okay, it's the first game. Now, let's talk about the ones that happened yesterday. Starting with the game between... Okay, we'll start with the United game. I mean, I didn't see this coming, actually. I mean, Chelsea losing to Manchester United 4-0. And Arsenal, Aubameyang was the guy who helped them. The £72 million guy came in as a sub. I couldn't do much for the team, but then they got their 3 points and also a clean sheet at St. James Park. Leicester City and Wolves ended goalless. Now, the big one is the one between Manchester United and Chelsea at Old Trafford. More like a buzzing mode, or how do I describe this game? It's a game that we didn't see this. I mean, we thought Chelsea actually dominated the first half. It's not a reflection of what happened in the game. But then you watched the game, you saw what happened. What happened to Chelsea?
Well, a couple of things. First, I thought, like you said, they started the game brilliantly. They hit the woodwork twice. I thought some of their play in the early part of the game was absolutely brilliant. The combination play, especially in midfield. Lampard selected a young team. In central defense, he played Christensen, he played Zuma. There was no Rudiger, who was still out injured. Of course, David Luiz left. So they were lacking in experience in that critical area. And it showed when they fell apart later
Eventually.
because they needed a leader, you know, in that defense to organize things, and they didn't have it. But then, had one of those chances they created gone in, the game would have had a different complexion about it. Like you said, if you didn't watch the game and you saw United 4, Chelsea 0, you'd have thought this steamrolled Chelsea completely.
That wasn't the case.
That wasn't the case. No. Chelsea looked really, really good in parts. But then when they fell apart, when the wheels came off, they needed leadership. What Hazard would have done normally, take the game by the scruff of the neck. What Kante would have done. And for the life of me, I don't know why Kante was on the bench until they were 4-0 down.
Still not fit to play 90 minutes apparently.
Well, but he should have, once they went 2-0 down, it was then damage limitation. If there was a guy who could limit that damage, it was Kante. And he didn't bring him in early enough. So I think Chelsea overtime will come good, but they need experience in that central defense. They need to really get back as quickly as possible. And then in midfield, I think that how do you replace
Hazard?
Hazard? How do you replace 15+ goals, so many assists, in the course of the season?
Double.
Christian Pulisic will try, but it's his first season. Expecting those sort of numbers from him, will be expecting too much, really. Those are the key areas where they will be found wanting. But as a team, I think Lampard has got a structure, a system in place that would mean that Chelsea play good football and they win a lot of their matches, especially when they bed in together.
How about United? Because we saw, there was no midfield, so to speak.
Yeah.
They decided to go, the kind of ball they played wasn't really like, they had to rely on the counter, and which was really clinical from the strikers that we're not expecting so much from, Rashford and Martial.
United had a lot of mobility about them yesterday, like it was in the early parts of Solskjaer's reign when they were winning for fun. On the front foot, obviously, they've got the vision and the passing accuracy of Pogba, which means that he can pick out the runs of these guys, Lingard, Martial, and Rashford. Those guys have got pace to burn, and they've got quality. When they got chances, they can finish. And that's what happened yesterday. They got their chances, and they finished. They won 4-0. And it looked like, it was an excellent performance. Of course, there was a lot of energy. They were, closing down Chelsea, especially after the first goal went in. They suddenly found their belief, and they started to, they smelled blood, and they went in for it, and they, they did the business. But, that performance and that scoreline particularly will mask a lot of deficiencies about this United team. If you saw how Chelsea picked them apart in the early parts, it was just too easy sometimes. There might be an argument that Maguire was playing his first game for United and was just Wan-Bissaka as well, which was those guys are just settling into their environment and playing with unfamiliar partners.
But as the game went on,
but as the game went on, I thought Maguire stamped his authority.
Yes, he did.
And the key thing, I think, if there was a difference from the United we saw last year, it was the quality of the passing out of defense. Maguire is one of the best in the world when it comes to passing out of the defense in difficult situations. So where Chelsea pressed, it was easy to beat that press because of the confidence and the precision with which he passed. If you had put Smalling or Jones there, they would have lost the ball and put pressure back. Exactly. So when you pay big money, that's why. Maguire would bring...
now he's actually worth the 80
million. Absolutely. For that reason, because when the opposition is pressing so high, you need players who are calm, who are cool, who have the ability of midfielders, and that's why City, always beats, presses, because they've got defenders who are like...
very comfortable on the ball.
They're like midfielders. Barcelona as well, they've got defenders, Piqué, Umtiti, whoever they play, they just have that capacity to stay calm under pressure and pick the right pass. And Maguire did that time and again. And once they beat that first press, it was always easy for the Pogbas of this world to then go on and thrive. But it's going to get more difficult. They're going to play more quality opposition than the Chelsea we saw yesterday. And we will then see, I just feel that United team looked to me like they've got a fragility about them. Like if something goes wrong, it might just spiral out of control. But fingers crossed, we'll wait and see. They got full value for their win yesterday. You can't begrudge them. Congratulations to United and their fans. But let's just sound the note of warning. All of the troubles they had last year haven't exactly gone away. Yes, they made recruitment in the right areas. Maguire's coming. You saw the kids yesterday. James, you saw Pereira was fantastic as well. But when it comes to the big games, when it comes to opposition that would, have that intensity about them for 90 minutes, would United be able to hold their own? That's the big question.
It's just one game and still lost to go 37 still to go, so still a long way. Right there, that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer lauding the impact of Paul Pogba in that match against Chelsea. 2 assists, even though he didn't have the greatest of games, but when it mattered the most, he delivered. Fantastic passes.
If you remember the game at Wembley against Spurs, when Solskjaer just came on.
That one as well.
Yeah, Pogba was like it was yesterday.
The 1-0 win.
The 1-0 win.
Yeah.
The assist for Martial's
goal.
Or was it Rashford? I think it was Rashford as well. Yeah. So Pogba, in his element, when he's enjoying himself, he can look the best player in the world, and we know this. But the consistency to keep that over 38 games, playing in Europe in midweek. That's where he's found wanting, the appetite, the hunger, to graft for the team, to help the team when the team is struggling. Those are the areas where
when they're under the cosh
to improve. When they are free flowing, when they are playing against a team that's susceptible to or vulnerable to counterattacks, he will pick those passes over the top with consummate ease. But can he do that? Does he have the desire to do that over the... I mean, there are still insinuations that he might leave. I doubt United will be silly enough to let him go.
Not at all.
But Pogba, of course, on his day, is one of the best in the world.
Okay, now let's leave Premier League now. Quickly, let's go to...
we'll go to France.
We'll go to France. Talk about the guy who played for Arsenal yesterday. He came on as a substitute. He's yet to hit the ground running.
Oh, come on.
Not a slice for Arsenal.
Just a
few minutes of action. But then we have Victor Osimhen just being thrown into the fray, and he gave them 2 goals for Lille. Good way to start.
Fantastic way to start, and the best possible move he could have made. I didn't think that he set the league alight in Germany.
Maybe in Germany perhaps the level was too much for him, but he went to Belgium and found his scoring boots. Now he's made that move to France and
so in Belgium, in France, you've got to be more space to work with. Like Pepe said after the game, Arsenal game yesterday, and Ndombele as well suggested it after the Tottenham game.
A lot of time on the ball.
You don't have a lot of thinking time when you're playing in the Premier League. And that's a big difference. When you play in Germany, the Germans are very organized defensively. So as a striker, you really have to be on top of your game. And as a youngster, he's just learning. There's no better place to learn than in France. And he fits into a team that already, plays a lot of attacking football. There's a lot of space to work with. So he will make mistakes. He'll learn from them. He'll score again and again. He'll build his confidence from there. So when he comes back to the tougher leagues, it's easy to take it from there. So credit to, his managers or his agents for deciding to go to France, and for a team particularly that is noted or famed for growing youngsters. Remember Hazard came from Lille?
Loads of players.
A whole lot of Origi. I mean, there's a lot of players who've been, on this roster.
All right.
This is what I had to say after the game. Cecilia.
He says it was an unforgettable moment, and I want to continue like this. I received a very good welcome from the whole group, and it helped me to integrate. Perfect from Osimhen.